Hey guys, Shaba TLK back here with another video on Mufasa the Lion King. Now, I just finished my script series and already we have some major news. This is perfect. Um, so, our last video we were talking about some of the premise that was from a source known as the Hollywood Handle. We'll get into that in a minute in terms of what that means, but no, there's actually other things we need to discuss. Some major things that have come out today as I speak. Originally, I was going to wait and get the next update video. It wasn't going to be an update video. It was going to be an analysis of the trailer. But today we have some very important things that I decided we really do need an update video to fully discuss. So, as a result, right here we have finally things to discuss. And here's, if you didn't know, I do have an OC named Shaba, and this is him right here. Okay, prior news from penguinrandomhouse.com. As you guys know, and you probably, if you had seen my posts, hopefully on my community portion tab on YouTube, you would understand that I've already made a post on this. But I'm going to go into it some detail just to start. Again, we have more news to get into than this, but this is the background for it. So about a couple weeks ago or so, I was just doing some random research, and I was, as far as I know, the first person to basically express this. I made a post on Reddit. Soon after, it was all over the fan community. So I don't want to brag or anything too much, but I do believe I was the first to cover this. I was doing some research late at night, and like I always do, and usually what I'll do is I'll hit the 24 hours recent news, and I'll go to, try to news and search Mufasa the Lion King and keep checking a couple times per day to see if anything new comes out. And I did so, but I didn't do so on news. Usually I do it under the news tab on Google. I instead accidentally did it on the main portion of just the search results tab. And by doing so, this was the first result: Penguin Random House Mufasa novelization. I freaked out. I clicked on it, thinking, oh, maybe perhaps we'll get some more info. First thing I was greeted with, and this is kind of cut off from what my main page was, I took a screenshot. Really bad screenshot, but penguinrandomhousebooks.com, paperback, $9. Believe it or not, it's going to release on November 17th, 2024. Ugh. So if you know that the film itself is supposed to release on the 20th of December, we might have some spoilers from this. This is, again, the novelization, which is the entire plot of the movie itself, just in novel format, and maybe some little alteration, but basically novel format. And again, might have to stay off online for a bit, most of us in the fan community, just so we don't get things spoiled. Anyway, that's not the main point. The main point I need to bring you to is this right here. Bam! Right there we have an absolute 100% undeniable, genuine full synopsis for the film. Right here. Return to the Pride Lands with this official novelization of Disney's Mufasa Lion King, which roars into theaters in December 2024. In this official blah blah blah, discover through the story blah blah blah. So, some interesting things. Because it's a novelization, because this is the story of Mufasa, Kiara is not going to have a place in it, and I'll tell you why. Is because this story is going to be mixed in with Kiara, and I'll get to that in a second. But Kiara will appear in the film. It's been confirmed she'll appear. Why she's not in this? Well, this is the Mufasa side of the story. In the film, there's going to be this, but is like the main thing, of course. But we're also going to have a side story with Kiara. Now, what does that mean? I've had many theories. If anything, you guys can guess as good as me. But I have theories that I will possibly get out in a video, especially if certain characters are mentioned. Hint, hint, Zira. But we'll see on that. Anyway, we're going to get into this plot just a little bit, just to read a couple things. I know you've already seen a lot of this, most of you guys, but if so, you can skip ahead in the video to the point where the new stuff is happening. But those who haven't seen this yet, really, or heard me talk about it physically, after a terrifying flood separates young Mufasa from his parents, his life is saved by a fellow cub, Taka. And we knew this from the other plot that I released from Hollywood Handle. What was new here is what I want to mention, which is this part right here. Dangerous lines we already kind of knew of. But we're here. Determined to ensure that Taka can one day rule as Lion King he was meant to be, Mufasa suggests they search for Malili, or Malale, I don't know how to pronounce it, excuse me if I'm butchering that, a rumored paradise for creatures of all kinds. Now, I believe that is probably going to end in the end become the Pride Lands, so that would probably mean that is interesting. They're retconning things, I can't really say retconning because what was in the books, such as like Uru and Ahadi and stuff, isn't necessarily canon, but it's generally accepted as such. But this is what we're going to deal with here is that, um, and again, this is technically a different universe, live action. I would hope that people, and I strongly emphasize that people consider that the 2D animated universe and the uh, live action universe are two separate universes. And I think if you were a fan and you understand that fact, you will better enjoy or better be able to criticize even the live action films. Now, going back into this, determined to ensure talking one day. Okay, Mulili. So yes, I think that will end up being the prelude. But here's what's the interesting thing: as their journey to find Mulili, again, don't know if I'm saying that right, takes them from maze-like canyons to snow-covered mountaintops and beyond. They encounter new allies and dangers alike. And then it pretty much gives like the general what we already know kind of thing, at what price, who's going to be even outrun the enemies, who's ran as Lion King. Well, again, this plot, there's so much to go into with this plot, and I want to do one of my biggest conspiracies here with if they do Zero. What I see here, right here, first of all, is maze like Kansas snow-covered mountaintops. Where do we see those kind of things? What Lion King media? Ah, Lion Guard. So what if? And again, I don't know how things are supposed to work in this, but here's a theory I have, and I got a lot. But here's just one. Perhaps they do include Lion Guard references, which I do think is likely. Believe it or not, call me crazy, but I do think they will do it. And how they'll do a Lion Guard reference, it won't be something like the Roar. They would never do that. Again, but no, they would never do that. What they will do is likely scene references or just slight references. And what I could see with that is geological references, like such as certain mountaintop views or certain things that we see, can compare to the Lion Guard, and they'll give like a little nod. Who knows? Again, people will think, well, what about what kind of this Lion Guard's a children's series? Why would they even care about that? Well, I'll tell you why. When you do a movie, especially in a prequel or sequel, you have people that hopefully, and this is where Disney, I don't know, but hopefully you have people that are researching the medium in which the sequel or prequel is based off of. And what I mean by that is you research everything. You research not only books, anything that's printed for possible ideas. So any ideas are valid from any sort of property, including novels, um, even like novels, which is probably where we got Taka from. Novels, books, like I said, like that. Which again, novels. I don't know why I'm repeating that. Series, even children's series like Lion Guard. Previous films, even Lion King 2. Now that's going to lead to my point right now, where what if one of these, assume that one of these people, these allies, is Zira or for Scar, because listen, by the way I read this, I assume that both Mufasa and Scar are going to be getting their own ally, or Taka will get their own allies. And what will end up happening is we kind of see the things of like where they break apart. Well, what if they wanted to do Zero? Well, here's the thing. With having Mufasa and Taka, like has been a very big criticism of the fandom, having them not be related by blood. Though there's an actual interesting upside to that if you really want to think about it. If you do not have them related by blood, and if, which I would believe that this is the way Disney is going, I have no idea, but it would be funny if I predicted this, is to create an actual sequel film. And hold on, let me just cook for a minute, as they might say. But let me just explain that if they were to do a sequel film, and if you were to have Mufasa and Taka not be by blood, I would assume, since they have Kiara, I would assume that they could easily put in Kovu and have Kovu be related to Scar by blood. It could be Scar's biological son, which, if you follow my script, is one thing they really had a problem with in the actual script itself when they were forming Lion King 2. And in that script and in the final film, Kovu is not Scar's biological son. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. You provide Zira in this. She's the perfect branch now to provide from past to the present. So from in the past with Mufasa and growing up and or getting to know Taka and blah blah blah, and then it will actually develop her relationship with that. You'd be able to see that relationship in this. Then what you do is you assume Lion King happens. You assume that says we use, with Kiara in here, as Kiara's being told the story in theory. Why is she being told the story? Perhaps she's being told the story, and later on, at the end of the film, we get a poignant scene where Kovu and Kiara meet for the first time. And perhaps that will set up a Lion King 2, a new Lion King sequel. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, I don't want them to remake Lion King 2. I agree, but I don't think they will. Because it's a different universe and because COVID can be related by blood and etc., they can create an entirely new sequel story. And I do think that's what they would end up doing. Now, what I see here also is I see that, again, why would you also include the character of Kiara from Lion King 2 if you don't have the purpose of bringing in other characters as well? And the only way this is going to be proven is if Zira is announced to be one of the people in this. I guarantee you that is one of the, or something similar is what they will be doing. Because then what you can do is, again, you set up a sequel, which again, Disney thinking ahead with hopefully with franchises, what they've seemed to be doing and focusing on recently. Thinking ahead, you have the franchise and you have developed a sequel with Zira or Kovu and Kiara. Kovu being by blood. What you can do then is have the even poignant thing about, Scar's original bloodline. Scar was the one who was supposed to inherit the kingdom, as you see here. Yet maybe Mufasa was picked to be, because he was just a better leader. And you know what? That's a good thing. But maybe we see that Scar. People have assumed that also that Scar in this, or Taka, Taka Scar, he might that they will justify his actions. I have a feeling they're not going to do that necessarily. Again, they probably will, but I would hope that what they're going to do is do it instead. Show that yes, he was supposed to be legitimate, blah blah blah, but the way he went about things in terms of murdering his, friend or a stepbrother or whatever, or his maybe methods on ruling were just really not just, and that's why he is evil, and he is because of what he ended up anyway becoming and doing as a result of himself, not the result of others. I would assume that's what they do here. Now, I also assume that they show you why he ends up becoming the way he is, but they'll give him justification, is what I'm trying to say. I do think, though, like I said, not being related, and he even though he's technically legitimate, it kind of gives an interesting thing that technically he's a legitimate bloodline, but he ends up dying. What you can do with that is then if Kovu is Scar's biological son, what do you think that will mean for the completion of We Are One in the Circle of Life? That would have an even greater purpose in a sequel movie because you could have Kovu marrying Kiara, symbolically decides not to be like his father, Scar, in the way he's jealous of things or justified by things. And instead, he, again, joins the Pride, combines the Pride as one, and becomes, again, with Kiara, becomes a legitimate ruler without any weird things, because, again, Mufasa and Scar weren't related, therefore Kovu and Kiara aren't related. And they can become the king and queen of the Pride Lands with Kovu reestablishing the original bloodline back into rule. That kind of premise is insane. But it also shows you that if they do mess up with the story, I've got no sympathy whatsoever for them because that is an insane plot point, in my opinion. And there's so much other theories and just ways you can do the story that it's impossible to create something bad unless you really just suck. And hopefully, I don't have to do a really rip apart video for this movie when it comes out in December. But anyway, moving on to the main part of the thing today, or the main part of the um, video today, which is the new stuff right here. Bam! First look images from the teaser trailer, which allegedly is supposed to drop, and there's rumors. I do think it's. I said it was going to be April, most likely. I think it's going to be April 11th, like rumors have been, or somewhere around that time when CinemaCon. CinemaCon is next week, and the fact that we're getting these images really right now, these are released images, and some other info, which I'll share in a second, means that we'd likely get it. This apparently is from Screen Rant, but there's also on a bunch of other places, fairly credible sources. And they have, right here, per Disney Insider, a shot from the upcoming Mufasa Lion King was revealed. And it was revealed apparently during a Disney annual shareholder meeting. And there's a couple of shots actually that were of this. This is just one of them. And again, it's a scene that kind of pans up and over the rock to face. Allegedly, this is Mufasa. We're looking at a younger Mufasa. And there's a couple things I want to go into with this. There's not much. One, at first glance, looks kind of rough, I will say. CGI, again, no matter how good this story is, I'll still have the problem with it. Probably should have been 2D animated, but I'm not the only one with that. But what we got, we got. Um, this looks weird, but I think that might just be because of the way the animation, how animation is when you pause it at certain points. You ever guys ever or don't never pause a Disney movie? Well, that's why that leg probably looks weird. I do think, in terms of the face, I don't. Again, it's so hard to tell how much they've actually changed in terms of CGI, if they even changed anything at all. I do think something is going on with the eyes. And what I mean by that is if you look closely on this page, these eyes look much, much more expression filled, as well as this. As well as the mouth. I don't, again, without seeing the trailer, I'm not going to know for sure. But I do think it looks fairly decent from this. Again, I don't know. In terms of what it is, it looks decent. And now looking at the background, again, hard to discern. You know, we don't know. But I'm going to move on. I do think I can definitely notice that the eyes in the CGI have changed. But we're not going to be able to go too much into the CGI, honestly. Even with just still images, we need to see it in animated function. So that's all I got to say. And hopefully we'll see that next week with the trailer. Now, here's the other big news. We do have a new actor confirmation. Serafina and her actress have been confirmed via Screen Rant, same article, and some other sources from the same thing. But here we go. The image shows blah, blah, blah. Right here, it says, he is shown looking over the land alone, without any of the new or returning characters that are set to appear in the movie. A roster that includes his brother Scar, played at a younger age by Kelvin Harrison Jr., and Serafina, who's played by Penny Johnson Gerald, right here. Simba Nala's daughter Kira, again, is also confirmed. These are the ones that have been confirmed so far. And oddly enough, this is new. So we are getting Serafina, and which makes sense, again, being Journey Mufasa. How are they going to develop? Because Serafina is Nala's mother. So, they must become like good friends. And Sarabi, this is interesting. It's very interesting, honestly, to see how this will work. But I'm glad, if that is true, I'm glad that we at least get some Serafina action. I mean, man, that is awesome. Again, not too much, but it's kind of big news since we haven't gotten much over the past couple months. This is a lot of big news to cover. There's a bold statement also re-referenced, which was in a Variety interview, a live Variety video interview, but this is the written up version from Screen Rant, where Jenkins is explaining how, I think, I grew up with these characters, they mean so much to me. I think that Jeff Nathanson, the writer, did in going back into really helping children, anyone who ever loved this property, understand what it takes. Kings aren't just born, they aren't made, blah, blah, blah. So he says, in that standpoint, it fits very well with everything else I've done. I feel no pressure. I just want to do a good job. Now, understood, and I really hope he does. I do think, though, that there's some bold statement here about this part, because I'll tell you what, we better have a good story. As long as we have a good story and a valid, acting, and everything's good. Again, the CGI could be rough. I'll give him some leeway. I'll give Jenkins as a director some leeway, especially because I know how he's not the only one influencing. It's also the executives above him. But that said, it's going to depend. I hope, again, very scary statement, but interested to see how bold he is with this, thinking we've got a good franchise. Because, again, same people, same directors and stuff, thought the same thing with Wish. And everyone knows how that turned out. So, again, hopefully you make a good statement here, and I won't have to embarrass you later. But yes, again, maybe some more hope here. Just want to put that in there just to make sure we reference that in case, well, you know what? I'll be keeping this, and I'll be remembering this for the time when I do the full review on the film when it comes out in December. Now, trailer is imminent, especially with all these like footage shots we've gotten pictures of. That usually happens when the trailer's fairly imminent, within at least a couple weeks. So, next possibilities. Honestly, it could happen as soon as this weekend. They could surprise us by dropping the trailer earlier in the CinemaCon. They could drop it this weekend. if they wanted to, or even tomorrow. Who knows? I doubt it. It'll probably happen either next week, is what I think, or sometime in April. I do think it's going to happen in April. Now, again, because April is also 8 months or 9 months out from the film's release, it makes sense with the schedule. It just makes sense of when you would release such a film trailer, a teaser, because you release a teaser in April. Perhaps you release a official trailer in August, September-ish, around D23, and then you release a third, which is with this film schedule, is a third final trailer in like October, November, which is, again, think about that time frame, and it makes sense. So we should be getting a trailer at least in April, at latest May, as I say here. But man, and again, I put it down because who knows if Disney wants to really mess with us, but they could just hold it until June on the 30th anniversary of The Lion King. I would hope to gosh that doesn't happen, but you never know. Again, hope to gosh that doesn't happen, but you never know. They could. I mean, if they wanted to, they could. Yeah, but yeah, hopefully they. I think it's going to be either April 8th to 11th, somewhere within this time frame at CinemaCon. Once they drop it there, they'll probably put it online. And of course, the odds of a trailer drop are going to be increasing exponentially as we get closer and closer to this film's wonderful release date. I say wonderful with sarcasm, but also very eagerness, even though it's pretty much a year away, on December 20th, 2024. Final thoughts. Next update should be for the trailer analysis on this. But who knows? Who knows if we get more information? I have to do another video, kind of spontaneous video like this. But yes, the next update should then be for the trailer reaction and trailer analysis. And yeah, after that, it should be fun. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys hopefully learned a couple things today or have some opinions formed of your own. If so, please write those in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. And yeah, any thoughts you guys have on this or and things in general, just make sure you can write in the comments. And I'll see you guys on the next video. All right. Have a